Hello, everyone. Welcome. You are viewing a very wide shot of the XRM studios. This is the 110 Football Instant Reaction Show in partnership with Adidas. We're following LAFC versus Atlanta, and, well, it didn't go well. Did not go well at all, guys. Actually, as I look out there, I'm seeing, yep, torches, pitchforks. Who still has torches and pitchforks? LAFC fans. I'm Vince LaRosa. Jessica Black is back with me. The defenders of the bank. I got Philly. I got JR. Guys, if you're new here, what we do is we instantly react to the results. They haven't been good lately. We do a little thing. We do some headlines. We do a stock up. We do a stock falling. But you guys are in the chat. I'm going to take these guys through their paces and try to ask them some hard questions. But the best questions are going to come from you guys. So be busy in the chat. Be active in the chat. We will do our best to answer your questions, assuming that they're reasonable. Because you're a reasonable bunch, aren't you?
Maybe not after today.
Yeah, maybe not after today. But I'm gonna start how we normally start, and it's basically with just I need a general vibe, a general feeling that you guys have, if you still have any feeling after that match. Philly, you're looking exceptionally sad, so I'm gonna go to you first. Philly, what's the general vibe of yourself, and where do you think the fan base is at after this one?
Somewhere between disappointed and numb. It has to be where the fan base is. It's the hope that kills you. Coming into Atlanta, a lot of people excited, a lot of people going away on away days. And for the most part, sitting and watching all the stories on Instagram, I myself was suffering from a severe case of FOMO, watching how much fun everybody had down in Atlanta United. But this game was far from fun. This season has been far from fun. And we talked about it earlier. You mentioned this is LAFC's longest streak without a win. It's been tough. So somewhere between disappointed and numb is where I find myself. And I imagine there's other people that want to throw in a sprinkle of anger in terms of their emotional feelings, but it's getting tougher and tougher to find those glass half full positive approaches in this season.
Jess, is it getting tougher and tougher because I feel like we're watching the same? Is it just because we're watching the same thing over and over again?
I was just about to say that was a continuation of San Jose for me. Like, there was nothing different in tempo, in the way that we were playing, confidence, anything from the last game to this one. So essentially you're watching 180 minutes of literally the same things over and over again, which is alarming. But I do have to say, Philly makes a good point. Like, we're veering into numbness and apathy at this point, and that's the last place you want to be. I'm not even as angry as I was before, and that's worrying, you know. So, yeah.
You like to be angry?
You know, I think I would prefer to feel like I'm not seeing the same thing over and over again. So what am I actually getting angry about? Because the next game, when you ask me what do I think is going to happen, I'm going to say what happened at Atlanta United and what happened against San Jose.
Okay.
This is not changing.
Well, if you like to be angry, just wait. The Arsenal season just started.
Ooh.
Hey, guys, before... Sorry. I had to. You took a shot at Serie A. I'm taking a shot at Arsenal. It's fair. We're even.
I mean, I made a shot at the league.
I know. It's even a bigger shot.
My club. Wow.
We're even for now. Before I go to JR, I just want to point out to everyone in the chat, I hired a doctor, a therapist, an LAFC therapist. His name is Dr. Lillian Darby. He's in the chat. If you have some issues you need to work through and you can't quite get into my headset, reach out to Dr. Lillian Darby. He's there for you. JR? What would you tell Dr. Lillian Darby right now after that match?
Look, I could sit on a couch right now and talk for days about the frustration that I'm feeling. It's frustration.
Well, you could kind of like...
It's not only with our play, but now we have another key piece of our team. Likely, I mean, it looked bad with Cheeky Palacios. Yes. Not able to put any weight on it. He looked, he was hurt.
He looked distraught.
He knew, right? Like, you know when something bad happens. I feel for Cheeky Palacios more than anything else after this match, because to be there on the pitch, to be part of the frustration that's going on, and then to know that something else coming down the line that's far, far worse than not being able to score for your team, not being able to contribute for your team, to not even be able to suit up. It looked bad. We don't know anything yet, but I just feel like, look, my question, and I'll save it for the headline, but I have a question that I'll ask later on, but frustration. You asked the feeling. To me, it's just utter frustration. Like, I'm in a straitjacket, and I don't know what to do. I can't move. I'm just frustrated right now.
I feel you. I'll say this. I mean, #1 broadcaster rule, don't speculate on injuries, but I would agree with you. It did look bad. I'd also say I know as of late there's been the injury bug has hit, and we've got some guys that are out long term, and people are trying to somehow put some causation and correlations between those.
Right.
I think that's tough. There's too many variables. So instead of going there, I'll go, somebody in the chat said this. When are our 3 DPs going to play like DPs?
Oof.
Jessica, I'm going to go to you first. How many DPs do you feel like we've been rolling with on the pitch? Like if you had to add them up, are we at like half, maybe 1? Like where are we at with, even though 3 technically were on the pitch, but how much would you really count them?
Oh, wow. I mean, they were non-existent, weren't they? I mean, very little touches, very little impact. That's not really what you want from your DPs. And I think I said before the game that I thought that front 3 kind of was giving blunt vibes, and I don't feel like I was off on that. They're not really stepping up, and we're not seeing what we need to be seeing. And at the very least, you just want to see a little bit of energy, and I think our expectations are even lower than before. Like, I'm asking for energy. Before, I was asking for goals.
Well, zero in on blunt. When you say blunt, you mean, are they all looking at the same pace? What are they doing that's not
basically
working
when
for
I
you?
say blunt, it's just there is no, it's not a scary attack. I don't feel like people are fearing Vela, Rossi, B-Rod anymore. It's very stale. They just don't look like they're going to score. That's how I feel throughout the entire game. I'm like, we don't even look like we're going to score. It doesn't feel close at all. And I just feel like basically blunt means that we just look without goals. And that's really scary for a team that lives off of it, because if we can't keep them out, it's looking bad. You know, we can't even keep a clean sheet. And if we're not scoring and we're not keeping clean sheets, I mean, loss. That's pretty much what we're looking at now.
Well, Philly, you can disagree with me on this, but if I'm watching that game and I'm putting the balance on a whole, I don't think that Atlanta United necessarily had more bigger chances. Now, the one goal that they get was basically handed to them by Murillo's bad touch. Other than that, we had some chances, but you know what did surprise me? Only 3 shots on target. So how do you react to that?
Well, I mean, that's obviously a key thing. LAFC normally gets more opportunities on goal, more opportunities on target than the other teams. In fact, number 2 in terms of goal expectations. I mean, disappointing game all front. Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't for that unfortunate touch by Murray, that probably wouldn't have resulted in a goal. And, hey, we would have been disappointed one way or another, because we predicted. This was a disappointment game for all of us, because we all predicted a high-scoring affair. We didn't get that. It was a 1-0 game that really happened as a result of a gift-wrapped goal. Murray, unfortunately, had that ball. Ezequiel Barco, great pass to Joseph Martinez. Joseph Martinez bangs in his 5th goal of the season and gives a subtle nod to the footy mob. If you go back to the highlights, you'll understand the expression. But, I mean, to not get that many shots on goal, first 45 minutes, I'd say was rather entertaining, but another disappointing, 45 minutes to end the game. And, I mean, it's just tough to see light at the end of any tunnel with this team. It really is. I mean, are we going to be playoff bound? I don't know. Atlanta, are they going to be playoff bound? They've kind of flipped their season over. But, at this point, I've been the glass half full guy for so long. It's getting so tough to defend what's happening. What's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result.
All right. We've been basically living an insane kind of a season, because like you said, we've been doing the same darn thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Insanity. That's how I would chalk up the past couple of games.
All I know is my good friend Max Bredos keeps telling me that quote should be attributed to Einstein, and I keep reminding him that that's not true. But Abe Lincoln once said, "Don't believe everything you read on the internet." JR. Hector in the chat has said something that makes a lot of sense, but then it coupled it with a question that I want you to answer. He said, I know Bob can't score goals for this team. It's not the coach's job, but shouldn't he be able to figure something else out? And I feel like the only changes is to start with one formation and change to another is the only thing we've been able to do. So what is he not doing? Should he be changing more?
Look, since we're quoting Einstein and Lincoln, I'm going to quote Thomas Edison. When they asked him about all of his failures before he actually invented the light bulb, he said, all I've done is found out 10,000 ways how not to make a light bulb. I think what Bob has found is about a dozen different ways how not to score a goal with these formations right now. At least we're trying some things. I feel like that's the mantra I've had for the last couple of matches. But you're absolutely right. For someone like Bob Bradley, and for an incredibly talented coaching staff that he has. I mean, we're talking about Kenny Arena, Mike Sorber, everybody who's on the bench with him, Ante Razov. These are guys who have had incredible success as players, incredible success doing what they've been doing with talent. it is frustrating when we have plenty of talented players, right? But we can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net. I thought the first half was a microcosm for both of these teams, right? Atlanta and LAFC both struggling to finish chances, struggling to find their way. But for us to not be able to make the adjustments with the talent that we have, extremely frustrating. Totally agree with Hector in the chat. We've got to be able to push the right buttons, and at some point, just by pushing Control-Alt-Delete isn't going to solve anything.
All right, guys, you've heard our instant reactions. Are you feeling a little bit better? Has Dr. Lillian Darby helped you? Let me know. I mean, I'm paying this guy big bucks to be in the chat for you guys. But from there, guys, we like to do a thing called headlines. Then we'll go to stock rising. If you guys need more time on stock rising, probably.
I'm good.
And stock falling, I'm saving that for last because I'm sure you guys already all have that. So let's go straight to headlines. And I'm going to go to you, Philly. Your headline for this match.
Atlanta United, the dog. LAFC, the fire hydrant. I mean, that's the way I look at it as far as how the game was concerned.
That's gross.
I mean, it is gross, but I mean, at the end, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, we try to paint these glass half full perspectives, but at some point the gloves have to come off, and you kind of have to say how you feel. And I'm pissed off, numb, angry, disappointed, cynical. I never thought about that until you mentioned it. Yeah, there's a certain amount of cynicism that's going to start to like hit and engulf all of us. Next game against Vancouver, are we going to feel as confident when we talk pregame? Maybe not. Against the Galaxy, are we going to feel that same kind of optimism? I don't think so. Like, that's just the way this season is going. And I didn't mean to paint a gross graphic image, but let's put it this way. It just wasn't a fun affair down in the dirty.
When was the last time you actually saw a dog pee on a fire hydrant? I feel like that's an antiquated.
Well, I mean, I know we're in 2021, but where else is a dog going to go?
Lately, on my floor. Dogs.
Fair enough.
No. Jess, I want to ask you, Philly pointed out that it's starting to feel time to be cynical. And what's so weird is they are just hovering around the playoff line. Like, would it emotionally be better if they were just outright bad? Because, like, they're just this weird, like, amalgamation of talented players. And, like, if I'm being honest, you said that it looked like a continuation of San Jose. I saw a lot more of an organized team, especially in the first half. So I did like that was a welcome change. But the result's still the same. So what does it matter what I think? So I'm asking you, would it be easier to watch it? Not easier to watch a team, but would you rather just be outright bad?
I think it would be easier if we weren't as good as we know we are. We didn't have as talented players as we know we have. Like, it definitely would be easier if we were just literally the worst team and this is what we're supposed to be expecting, but we don't expect it. So I do take that point where it's like, if we were just bad, we could just be like, we're just that bad team. But we are hovering right around the playoff line. I mean, the little bit of good form that we had is really keeping us there, and the fact that everybody below us is worse. You know, so it's looking peak at the moment, but yeah, I'd prefer us to just be like literally the worst, because this team should be performing so much better. We have way too many good players to be just losing games back to back to back to back to back. And yeah, I'd rather be horrible.
Right? Because you could start from the ground up.
I've never thought about that before. Like, wouldn't I just rather be bad? Yeah, I think so. Because when you have expectations and you get let down, it's worse than if you're just like, well, if we win a game, we're just excited because we never thought we'd win. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
again, it's the hope that kills you, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go into matches hoping that we're going to have a better result, and that's where we get crushed. Where we've been getting crushed. I don't want to say day in and day out, but that's where it lies. Again, if like nothing good is happening, you don't expect anything great. But to have the amount of talent on paper, and you could go through all those statistical categories and say this should be a better team, that's really what stinks at the end of the day. I'm
going to throw it out to the chat. Is it disappointing because you know they should be better? Is that why this hurts so bad? To you, JR, I'm going to ask, when was the last time you smiled?
Look, I try to smile all the time. I try to smile every day. I run a summer camp, right? We were happy for the last 9 weeks. I'll say this. I'm the exact opposite of how this side of the room is feeling. Only because, look, a lot of people know me as a big Tom Brady fan as well.
Oh,
right?
Here we go.
Here's what I will say. Tom Brady lost 2 Super Bowls.
Never eaten a strawberry.
He's never eaten a strawberry.
Weirdo.
To 2 Giants teams that backed their way into the playoffs via the wild card, had no business really being in the playoffs, and then rode that magic ride all the way to 2 Super Bowls. So can LAFC be those versions of those New York Giants teams that backed their way in, had enough talent, had enough leadership, found a run? Absolutely. Do I have any confidence right now in this team being able to do that? No. But my glass is still half full because it's the old line. So you're saying there's a chance. Yes, right now RSL jumped us, so we are currently under the playoff line. But coming into this match, the live standings, we were still in. And all you have to do is get a ticket to the dance. Who knows what can happen after that? We just need to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net.
Good Dumb and Dumber reference.
Thank you.
I like that. Scott in the chat had a headline, Tristan Blackman sets record for passes to the other team.
Oof.
JR, I want your headline now. Can you top Scott?
Yeah, my headline was, is this rock bottom? Because while I think Atlanta is a vastly superior team than their record shows, and they are a vastly more talented team, and I think we saw that on the pitch, their ability to almost man mark at times and kind of go 1v1 against our guys. But you have to start asking questions about, we are throwing guys like Raheem Edwards and Daniel Crisostomo and Mamadou Fall out there and asking them to be part of the solution for saving not just 3 points, but parts of our season now at this point. And while I think, by the way, that Fall and Crisostomo played very, very well, I think some real questions need to be asked about where this team is going. We still created 10 chances in the match. We only created less than a goal expected, but we still created 10 chances going into this match. And it's not the offense that's not creating chances. Something is missing, and I actually don't think it has anything to do with tactics. Maybe in the locker room, maybe there's some infighting, maybe we do have a couple of DPs that are looking across the globe and trying to get somewhere else, but something right now makes me ask the question, is this rock bottom for how LAFC is playing right now and what we've done?
That's strong. That's a good little emotional talk, and he came with numbers too. I'm going to give a shout out to somebody in the chat who says they love the show. Although I feel like this is one of those situations where I'm Mo at the bar and they're giving me a name because his name in the chat is Dick Sensei. Thanks for watching the show and for saying how much you like the show. I'm going to now switch it over to Jessica. You've had time to ruminate on Philly's headline. We got JR's headline. We got a headline from the chat. What is going to be your headline?
Well, we had all the defenders on the pitch, but we still conceded a goal. You know, I just think we had so many defenders out there, which obviously is going to stop you from being able to attack the way that you want, but we still made a mistake that led to a very unlikely goal. And if we're not able to figure out, Bob is a very experienced coach. So I feel like at this point, because he should know that we're struggling to score goals, he should be able to set us up in a defensive structure that allows us not to be so open and put our defenders under stress so they make these bad decisions and mistakes. I just feel, you know, I'm big on the defensive side of everything, and I'm like, if you're not going to score, don't give up a goal. If you can't win, don't lose. And it just feels like we're giving as much as we can offensively, we're not getting anything back, but we're not thinking about the defensive part of it. So that worried me because we had literally 5 defenders back there, and we're still giving up a silly goal. And I don't really think Atlanta United created that great of chances. I don't think they were that much better than us. They definitely weren't, you know, really dominant. We just did something silly. We made the mistake and gave up the goal. The other teams are not making the mistakes. It's us, you know, so we need to kind of look at that. And Murillo is somebody who's quite experienced. You know, I would expect better from him, but, you know, I don't want to beat down on him too much or the team, but Bob is experienced enough to know if you can't score, keep goals out. And I don't think he's paying enough attention to it, and it's starting to frustrate me a little bit.
I like that you said not to get down on Murillo, because the point here is it's somebody different every week.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Like somebody's making a new mistake every week. Have we fallen into the problem where too many players are in bad form all at the same time?
I mean, that's a really good point. I think, again, like something cancerous is going on within like the mindset of the team. What's awful, though, is we keep losing players to unfortunate injuries. We lost Eric Dueñas recently. Prior to that, we lost Eddie Segura. Prior to that, we lost Kwadwo Opoku. Now, who knows what the story is going to be with Cheeky Palacios. And we're talking about throwing all the defenders back there. I mean, it's getting to a point where Bob might need to actually call the defenders to like start playing on that back line, because we're starting to run out of options. Yeah, you don't want us on that back line.
Oh, come on.
You don't want us on that
What
back.
position are you playing
on
on the
back line? Bob's going to run an 8-1-1 at the
Yeah.
at the
What
end
position
of
are
all
you
that.
playing on the back line?
Left spectator. There, I have no position or any business being on the field. But I mean, that's the thing that's happening. I mean, players are getting injured. Players are getting beat up. Moon's got a situation with his hamstring. Obviously, you don't want to test that. Cifuentes questionable. Fuentes actually had a rocket to Russia, quote Ramon's rock album. That was a heck of a shot. But, I mean, yes, I mean, we are a team as a collective. And I can't say, when we go to stock rising, there's a couple of things that we can point out. But overall, I mean, it's the entire team looks sort of down on itself. I mean, Romero had a couple of good saves. You can say that. Mamadou Fall played a really, really good game today. Crisostomo had a couple of nice. I
feel like you're just taking us right into the stock rising.
Oh, sorry.
You're going off.
I was just trying to be a little.
You just really want my job. It's okay.
No.
I'd actually like to present the counterpoint to what Jessica was saying. I think if not for a bad touch by Jesus David Murillo, this is a 0-0 game. If not for
but does
one
that make
bad
you
touch,
feel better?
It doesn't make it worse. Let's put it that way. It's better. I don't think you could feel better at 0-0 either way, right? Because we need goals.
Yeah.
But my opinion is you had the three best players on Atlanta, Moreno to Barco to Joseph for that goal. You had the three best players link up on two excellent passes that really exceeded the quality of the defense on that play. But if not for Murillo, I believe if Murillo gets back, if he's a half a step off, maybe he was too far up, maybe he got caught. But it's that touch that actually angled the ball back to Barco. I think we're talking about this game vastly different. Yeah. I thought with 5 saves for Tomas Romero, I thought with the way that our backline, especially in the first half, I felt was playing much more collected. I really like what we saw from Cheeky Palacios for most of this match. I'm still not sold on Farfan, but that's okay. I actually thought our defense was really solid in this, and I thought that Atlanta, while they did create a couple fewer chances than we did, had a couple better quality chances than we did, and for us not to concede anything after that, we were definitely trying to push the ball up the field more. We were opening our defense up for attacks a little bit more, but it was still 1-0 at the end of the match. So I think our defense was actually better than what the rest of our team played as today.
Yeah, I'm trying to really comb my mind, and besides Martinez's goal, that second half, did Atlanta really create much? And you can't say that they necessarily engineered that because, to your point, Murillo turns his body a different way, he takes it down with his chest, he clears it with a header, then we're not even talking about that.
Right.
But I will say, 0-0, I don't feel much.
I'm with you.
I still don't feel much
100%.
better. No. I think if I'm going to give a quick headline, mine would be there's countless ways to lose, and LAFC is trying to put that to the test. Yeah. It feels like they're trying to find every different way to lose a match, and that's the most frustrating for me because, man, this sport is so random. But when you do not give yourself the advantages that you should by either scoring a goal or just making the correct plays like Murillo can, then you fall prey to luck, you fall prey to bad touches, your margins are so much thinner, and that's LAFC is just living in that zone of like,
fine margins.
Who knows what can happen? Fine margins, and it's not in LAFC's favor at all because Carlos Vela isn't scoring everything that comes off his foot. Diego Rossi is on the back of a milk carton right now. Brian, I don't even want to talk about Brian Rodriguez. Let's just go to stock rising. Oh, I think I have to explain what a milk carton is. A milk carton was a container that we used to have that had, and sometimes we put missing kids on it. It's kind of dark, actually, when you think about it. You'd like pour milk in your cereal in the morning, and you'd see a missing kid, and you'd wonder, is that me? Am I next? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's not.
Lucky Charms were you eating back then?
Death by paper cuts.
Let's not pile on to the sadness.
Stranger Things is a popular show. I feel like that's just the whole premise of that show.
Oh, wow.
Okay, did I go too far?
I mean, maybe a little, but that's
okay. Okay, well then let's do something happy if we can.
Okay.
Stock rising.
Yeah.
JR, do you want to go first?
Sure. I will go first on my stock rising, and I think this was it's sort of what I just talked about. This was the bounce back game for Tomas Romero that I feel like he needed. Okay. 5 saves on the day. He had one very, very good save in the match and several others that kept us in it. And with a back line that was constantly changing. We already mentioned it with Raheem Edwards coming into the match and with the different substitution patterns that we made, with Mamadou Fall getting out there alongside Tristan Blackman. I mean, all the different permutations that we could have done. Like you said, every defender was out there on the pitch, Jess, and I think that was really a moment where Tomas Romero needed to step up. There's not a landmark moment in the match, right, where he came back and he grabbed control of the keeper spot, but he did everything he needed to do. He was hung out to dry on the Joseph goal, and he even still almost got a foot on that. Yep. Joseph wasn't very clinical with the touch, but he had enough space.
But he's Joseph.
Exactly. He's going to finish those chances. Isn't it crazy how that's how we thought about Carlos just a couple seasons ago? But that being said, I felt like my stock rising was Tomas Romero only because he played a very poised, a very solid game for us in keeper. We're not going to lose many games if he plays the way he did today.
Okay. I agree with that. I think he was also pretty good with his feet. Did you like his distribution in this match?
Yeah, I think he was just fine, very just good. You know, I don't think he did, like you said, he didn't do anything really special, but in the last couple of games, he kind of made himself look like he was making, you know, he stood out more.
Sure.
He didn't really stand out.
And not the right way.
Sure.
Exactly, exactly. So I would say that he just solidified himself. It was just a lot more steady, which is what you want from your goalkeeper. And yeah, if we're better in front of him, then he gets his clean sheet. You know, I thought he played fine.
Somebody in the chat says Stock Rising Galaxy. I want to remind you that Dr. Lillian Darby is in there to talk with you if you need help.
What is this?
Philly,
Oh boy.
your Stock Rising.
Oh boy. Romero would have been my original one, but obviously not to repeat the same exact answers. I like the way Mamadou Fall played. Oh, okay. So you want?
Look, I think you both can pick Mamadou Fall, and let's talk a lot about him because he was very good in this game. It was his first start. Was he offside? Should we talk about that?
By a nose hair, if anything.
Yeah, you talk about how good Mamadou Fall was, and let's just go into a lot of what he did in this game.
I mean,
Tell me your point.
First off, I mean, we talked about how Edward Atuesta was somewhat non-existent. I mean, that set piece corner, that set piece that he had such a nice curl to it. We could argue that maybe it was a shot, if anything else, as opposed to a pass. But when that kid scored, we erupted when we were watching the game, and that would have been just the icing on the cake for a game like this. Even if it ended 1-1 with Mamadou Fall scoring that goal, it would have felt a lot better than it ending 0-0. But he did a really good job shutting down some of the Atlanta forwards. I mean, he was out there, he was playing aggressive. I mean, he was somewhat of a joy to watch. And anytime a kid, 18, 19 years old, coming out of high school, goes on there and steps up and plays the big boy role in a man's game, you're going to feel happy for him. And so, I mean, he's going to be my Stock Rising. With who knows what happens to Cheeky Palacios, obviously. I mean, I think he's going to earn himself some more minutes going forward, at the very least. So you'd have to look at it as a Stock Rising in that respect.
Jesse looked really comfortable playing in the back three. Then they switched to 4 in the back, which you might say for a younger guy might be something to worry about, but he looked comfortable. And then also he carried the ball up the field. He had some nice touches in that way. What did you like? Because I could tell you wanted to go there with it. So tell me what your things about Mamadou were.
Well, I've liked him since the first time I saw him play, and I thought, I mean, he had little glimpses, some nice passes into the box, and you could tell. It's not only that, you can tell he's up for it. He has a lot of energy, which is kind of what we're looking for. We need a spark. He definitely has that. But Murillo and Blackman are not particularly good with their feet. They're not reliable when it comes to playing the ball out of the back and being technically secure. I think Mamadou Fall is going to end up being one of those types that, like you said, can dribble out of the back, can pick a pass into the box, can pass the ball in between the lines. And that's a different dimension that we just don't have in our back line. So he's young, he really stood out, and I just thought, I mean, we're really digging to find something good, but he did stand out, and I applaud him for that because the team's going through a really difficult time. He could have easily just had maybe not a good game, and we wouldn't have beat him up for it because he's young and inexperienced, but he stood up, and he was counted, and I liked him, and I hope he continues to play because we need something different, and I think he adds that.
Well, no one can replace Eddie Segura.
Right.
I mean, for people that don't know a lot about Eddie Segura, he is an underrated leader of this team. He maybe doesn't go scream and yell, but they really vibe off of him and the way he plays, and he's steady Eddie, right? Yeah. And that's the way the team plays. Is there characteristics of Mamadou that, I mean, could that be a moment we hang on to from this and say maybe, just maybe, someone can actually somewhat step into that void?
I mean, he's young, right? So we're gonna have to see how he matures in this system and see what happens over the course of training. But he's one of those guys that you kind of maybe you hitch your wagon to a little bit and just follow and see how they do for the next couple of years. If he's somebody who we can take from the Monteverde Academy all the way through to MLS, and for him to be not just a contributor, right? But we see a little bit of that it factor, right? We don't know what it is, but I feel like when I watch Mamadou Fall, you see something. He's so confident on the ball. You mentioned it. There were several times where he took the ball up the pitch. One time where he might have held on a little bit too long, trying to do a little step over there against
a little bit of a dive.
Miles Robinson, maybe one of the better defenders.
Yeah, Miles Robinson's not going to fall for that.
Not happening. But again, he has the confidence to do that, right? Like, we talk all the time about a team that is lacking confidence. This kid doesn't know what he doesn't know yet. He's just getting out there and he's playing football, the way that Bob talks about ideas, he talks about moments, right? He loves to be cerebral with those things. We heard it in the press conference and pregame. Mamadou Fall is giving you those moments and letting you run with those ideas, and I think Bob is just going to, like you said, reward him with more and more playing time.
Matthew in the chat says that we missed Kim today. I would say we did not miss the Kim of the last 3 games, but did we miss somebody like Kim when he's playing well in this match?
You know, I love Kim, and I think, yes, he's had a rough time, and when he's out there and he's playing well, he definitely has a spark and an it factor, but I have to be honest, I think we're missing Carlos Vela, Atuesta, and Diego Rossi more than we're missing Kim. They're not really showing up, so yes, we kind of miss him, but it's really at the top end of the pitch where we're missing our stars, and they're the ones that I'm looking at like, we need you to show up.
Mm-hmm. My stock rising is going to be Jose Cifuentes. It's not like a super brilliant one, but he came in at halftime. I legitimately did not think he was going to play at all in this match because the hamstring injury, I don't think he trained much this week, and then I couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
I mean, he came in there and immediately tried to boss the game. They changed the way they played, went to the 4-3-3, and they looked the better team despite 60 seconds into the second half going down a goal. Yeah. He rattles the crossbar. I think it's still probably shaking. Man, he's one to build off of, and I think we all admitted in this room that like if he's going to be out long term, oh God, because wasn't there a moment, Philly, where he did hold his leg for a second. Yeah. We were like, if he's out,
done.
We're done.
Call it a year.
We're done. So that would be my stock rising is Cifuentes in that. I want to hear if you got any stock rising in the chat. Go ahead and shout them out. Send them our way as we move to stock falling. Stock falling. This could be a long one, guys. So dig in. And again, if you need help, Dr. Darby's there for you. I'm gonna just keep saying it because it's fun.
Can you give me your number, by the way?
Yeah. I'll hook you up with the doc after this. Jess, I want to go to you first so that no one can steal your stock falling. Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, we should probably do a better job talking about this.
No, this is fun.
I feel like we
fun.
should just talk about it before so we don't like repeat. But
that's great.
It's Atuesta. I mean,
why?
Nobody really noticed him. I think, we kind of all were like, wow, he's even out there because he had that one. It was like a really nice pass, and then he just kind of let it go underneath his foot and out of bounds. Like, I'm waiting on him to enter the game. I keep waiting for him to start showing up. Like, he's one of the most important players in this side, and I do believe that because he's in such bad form or he's not on it, we're suffering. Mm-hmm. Because we actually don't have a big midfield presence if he's not really going. And so I'm really disappointed in just the repeat. Every single game, I'm like, you're Casper, you're not showing up, we're looking for you, we don't see you. And I don't know if it's just because maybe the other stars of the team are also not performing and it's affecting him, but I have very high expectations for him. So for me, it's like at some point, you're going to have to galvanize yourself. Don't wait for Carlos, don't wait for Diego. You need to show up. We don't have a midfield. Mark Anthony Kaye, a lot of people talked about him, said he wasn't any good. I mean, Atuesta's not necessarily really stepping up at the moment. We need to be real about it. Like, Latif is not going to give us what we need. Like, we don't have our passer. We're not getting balls into the final third. He's holding on to the ball too long. And if he's not holding on to the ball, he's non-existent. Mm-hmm. Oh, and he's out of position on transitions. So, for me, it's Atuesta, and I'm like, the next game, I'm not even going to ask for him to show up. Maybe he'll start to show up when I stop asking. Because I've been saying this for like the last 4 weeks.
Well, Philly, does Atuesta miss Mark Anthony Kaye? Because when I think about the way the midfield pieces are supposed to fit together, and to your point about Latif Blessing, he's a bit of a dribbler, not much of a passer. And Atuesta then in the 2 has to cover a lot more ground than he used to. But when Mark Anthony Kaye was out there, you had Kaye that would cover the ground. You had Kaye that could be there for the progressive pass. You had Kaye that could play the progressive pass and get Atuesta out and running in transition. Is he missing his buddy?
I think so. I mean, and also Kaye was just a very vocal leader. Like he was, I guess, a veteran compared to some of the other younger guys. So he would try to like rally everybody one way or another, where it was leading by example, getting in the middle of arguments with the refs and the other players, stepping in to protect his boys. I mean, he played that enforcer role for a little while, and to like not have him part of the team, I mean, obviously we're missing that as far as the midfield is concerned. Yeah, he's having to step up and do more work, and with all these changes that have gone by, I mean, I think in some cases like the clearly defined roles that were clearly defined aren't so clearly defined because things keep on changing. We're trying to tinker with things, we're trying to figure out new ways to win, and I mean, nothing seems to be working at this point.
People in the chat are giving their stock falling. I'm going to see if we're going to be able to hit on all of them. JR, what is your stock falling?
All right, so I don't know if I'm going to frame or phrase this correctly, but I can tell you the thing that frustrated me the most, which was my stock falling for this match. What LAFC did with the ball after creating a turnover. I felt like we would take the ball, create a turnover, and then right back to Atlanta with the ball. Literally the next pass. We would try to make a 20-yard through ball, or we would try to make a pass to the wing, and Atlanta would be waiting there after we turned the ball over. It was so frustrating that we would turn Atlanta over and then constantly give the ball right back to them. I feel like that's all we did in the second half. We did it several times in the first.
For you, was that decision-making or execution?
I
a lot
think,
of times for me, I saw them thinking, we turned the ball over. Oh, I'm so happy.
Right.
Let's go forward as quickly as we can. Maybe that wasn't the way to go.
No, that's exactly what I thought. All of a sudden, it's like, all right, we need to hit the go pedal as fast as we possibly can, get moving forward to catch them in transition. I think that we failed on that so many different times in this match. Hold the ball for a second. Let's see what's going on. Let's survey the field first, especially, I mean, Tristan Blackman must have done it 4 or 5 different times where he creates a turnover, pass the ball out of bounds once or twice too. I feel like it's so much of that mentality of we have to move forward, we have to go, we have to go, we have to go, or it should be more about we have to make the right pass, we have to find the right lane, we have to get everybody moving forward together. I was just so frustrated in the fact that we turned Atlanta over a ton in this match, but gave it right back so constantly.
I think that's the major difference between this team and the 2019 team. We are just garbage in offensive transition. Like, we cannot create anything.
We're disconnected. There's a huge disconnect between the defense, the midfield, and the forward line. And I feel like, I don't know if this is done on purpose, but it feels like the defense would win the ball and then instantly want to bypass the midfield and try to get it to Carlos and everybody up front. But at the same time, it's just like you didn't even close the gap. Like, the types of passes that you guys are trying to make are Pogba passes, and we don't really have that range. So push the ball forward, relax just a little bit, maybe give it to your better passers. Just wait. Like, I agree with you. Maybe I should have used that as my stock down because, like,
no take-backs.
I can't take it back. That is such a good point. Like, it was very frustrating, and I don't know if Bob is telling them to just bypass midfield, but it's not working.
Well, here, redeem yourself. Is it tactical or is it personnel? Because, again, to point out, Mark-Anthony Kaye received some of the most progressive passes from our team. He was always in an area to receive progressive passes, and now they're just saying, there's no one to pass to. I gotta go long. Or do you think Bob's just telling them go, go, go?
Well, I think it was always go, 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 but smart. You know, we've always kind of been good in transition. We've been able to, catch teams out. That's been a part of our game. So I don't necessarily feel like he's saying go, 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 but we're not doing it smart. And I also think that we are missing somebody that can hit those balls in between the lines. But I also think from where they're trying to hit them, you're never gonna be able to do that.
Right.
And then you have Carlos and Diego, they're all running back to you, running towards the goal. Nobody's coming short. There's a huge disconnect there, and again, I don't know what's going on.
Right. So the midfield doesn't fit together, the front three doesn't fit together. That's going to be a big, big problem.
It's a big question mark.
Who had the game-winning assist for Colorado this week?
Mark-Anthony Kaye.
Okay, just checking. Cool.
I want to give a shout-out to Ken in the chat, who gave a shout-out to the traveling supporters. We did hear the traveling supporters in the broadcast, so it was pretty cool that even in a stadium that you can be engulfed by those Atlanta fans, we could still hear the LAFC fans. So I hope they all get home safe. Now I got to go back, turn the page back to the sad side. Philly, your stock falling.
Hoy, it pains me to say this because I love all of these guys, but I would have to say our stock falling are 3 designated players. I mean, we pay them an awful amount, a lot of money to do a couple of things, and that's either score goals, contribute to the offense, pass, get assists. When was the last time we saw Carlos Vela score a goal? When was the last time we saw Diego Rossi score a goal?
I would say Rossi. I would say the Rossi's a big one. You don't even have to talk about the other guy.
Fair enough, but I mean that's my point. There's millions of dollars up front, and as blue chip stocks, as they're evaluated and looked at, they haven't been producing their dividends. Now, does that mean that the stocks are going to be going down and short them for the rest of the year? No, but in terms of like the run of form over the course of the past couple of games, nothing has gone by. Carlos hasn't contributed. Diego hasn't contributed. Brian's Brian. I mean, Chicho Arango, he hasn't. His time with the team has not been long enough for us to clearly evaluate him.
Right.
But 3 designated players getting paid millions of dollars, they haven't been contributing to the offense. Nothing's been going on there. They're my stock falling.
You say Chicho hasn't been here long enough, but what we have been able to see from Chicho is him isolated a lot on the wings. Is that what we need from somebody?
I mean, that's not where he was most successful in the first 45 minutes of last match, right? He was in the middle. He was the dynamo that helped turn everything for us in the offensive end. And we didn't bring him here to be that wing player, right? We brought him here to be that killer number 9. Put him in the role that he's best suited for and let him play. I think what we're going to start to see, and maybe what I would clamor for over the last 15 matches of the season, is put your starting front 3 out there and let them go. Let the same 3 play. Okay, build up that chemistry, build up that confidence. And you know what? If you don't have it on the attack by the end of the season, you at least know you don't have it. Now you know you need to move some pieces. Now you know you need to make some moves. But if Rossi's going to be here, play Rossi, Vela, Chicho, and let's see what's going on. I think everyone knows me from Defenders of the Bank podcast. I have been on Team Brian from minute 1. I'm not on Team Brian. I'm off. I can't anymore watch games where he disappears. I can't anymore just say, but his physical skills, his ability, you can see it. You can't anymore.
Yeah.
For me, it's frustrating. I want Brian to succeed so badly. But with Chicho now coming into the game, I want Chicho, Rossi, Vela, and let them play. Let's see what we have from this. Let's develop some offensive cohesion.
Yeah, Brian had the poorest of starts to the game. I think I wrote in my notebook in the 7th minute. It was another opportunity to get an early cross in across the box. Literally exactly what Bob had said in the interview, in the presser that we watched. And he did not do it, then disappeared, then had some bad moments, then an incredible seam pass to Sifu, but then he subbed out because you haven't done enough for me.
It's so few and far between. Like, what's more beneficial to the team? Giving Brian Rodriguez game time for whatever particular reason. We kind of talked about this before, maybe so that other teams can see him and maybe he can move on, or to get Arango in the team and start to get them to gel together. I just feel, I know you want to try to do multiple things at a time, but I feel like at this point there's no real point in continuing to play Brian Rodriguez over other players for any reason, because we need continuity in that front line and we're not really getting it. I think Chicho has done good things when he's out there, but he's not in his right position, and he's not getting enough minutes. Like, what is he supposed to do for, 30 minutes while the team is not playing well? He should have had those 60 minutes. He should have had those. So, I mean, I want to see those 3 start and Brian Rodriguez on the bench in the next game.
Well, you want continuity, and I'm talking about the pieces fitting together. And when we think about being fluid, but also keeping them in their positions. I think we need to see Chicho central. Yes, you can come off the center backs and you can turn and drive upfield, which allows Vela to release from one side and Rossi to release from the other side. Does Bob need to define their roles just a little bit more, even if there is going to be fluidity where, not always the same person coming short, but maybe Chicho always needs to be through the middle. Is that what you think would help out?
I think it's fair. Again, we brought him in for a reason, and obviously he wanted to take the pressure off of Vela and off of Rossi. At the very least, if people will start collapsing in on them, and that would free up Chicho to do what he does best and what he's getting paid to do, score a goal. I mean, give the kid minutes. They brought him in for a reason. He needs to adjust to the team. He needs to adjust to the offense. He needs to build chemistry with the players. He's not going to do that riding the Pine Pony. He's just not. He needs to get in and he needs to play. If we're looking and evaluating from a forward perspective, who are we going to keep? Who's going to be on this team a year or 2 from now? Is it going to be Brian Rodriguez or is it going to be Chicho Arango? It's time to really start letting that kid play, letting him gel with the rest of the guys. Because, I mean, the ship is really, it's left port with Brian Rodriguez. Maybe there's like a little life raft hanging on and you kind of have to swim doggy paddle out to it to get on, maybe to save that thing from completely sailing. But the future really is with Arango at this point. They didn't bring him in as a temporary thing. He wasn't meant to be a Band-Aid that you would put on a stitch. He was meant to be a piece of that stitch to begin with. So looking forward, you got to play the kid more often. He's going to have to find the time to gel. And I think given more minutes, he absolutely will. If Brian Rodriguez can do anything, maybe come in off the bench and be a super sub. I use the term super very loosely, and maybe he clearly defines his role that way. He goes from being maybe, to use a baseball term, a starting pitcher to maybe being a closer. That might be where he becomes more effective. He doesn't have as much pressure to perform, and it also gives him somewhat of an incentive. Kid, you're going to play 15 minutes. Go out there and give him hell. That's really how you have to look at it.
That front 3 has a lot of potential, though. It really does. Arango, Vela, and Rossi, I mean, that's balance for me, but Arango through the middle.
Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
Not floating wide.
Not floating wide. It has so much potential to be really, really dangerous. And I mean, I'm not going to. Bob, he's probably trying to do multiple things at one time, but like at this point, like let's focus. Like get your front three out there, get them going, and hopefully Arango can help Carlos Vela because I'm really worried about him. He didn't look great today either.
Yeah. I think what we're saying is there's a lot of areas to figure out.
It's like everything.
Not a lot of time. Look, there's still a lot of time. In MLS, you always have time. I feel like you have time until September to really figure it out. And to the point, the results do somehow break their way, and they still kind of float around the playoff line, but there's a lot to figure out. If I'm Brian Rodriguez, here's what I do.
September's 2 weeks away, by the way, Vince.
I know, unfortunately. My birthday's right in the beginning of September,
right?
so it's making me feel that much older. But here's what I do. If I'm Brian Rodriguez, find a spot right next to Ante Razov and just have him talk you through the entire match and listen to every single thing he says that somebody's doing right or wrong. And then please, please try to put that into practice on the pitch, because I feel like Bob has given you the tools, and even our limited knowledge, we're like, yeah, you do this, and he just does not do those things. So maybe open your ears a little bit, listen. Okay, let's do our final thoughts, and we can get out of here. Because we want to try to enjoy the rest of our Sunday now after that dour performance.
Yeah.
JR, final thought.
Look, I'm going to be a little shameless with this one. Happy birthday to my dad. That's my final thought for the day. Papa Scarf's birthday today.
What's your dad's name?
My dad's name is John.
John, happy birthday, John.
Happy birthday to John, for sure. Honestly, my thought is safe from Atlanta. I hope that our team, and I hope that we use the All-Star break, because I said in our headline, is this rock bottom, right? Or this is rock bottom. I don't remember if it posed as a question or not. I'll tell you something else. We got a match on the 28th.
You know what I learned in journalism school? Don't do question.
Don't do right. There you go. We have a match coming up on the 28th.
Mm-hmm.
That if that goes poorly for us, you mentioned pitchforks and torches, and yeah, they're going to be ramped up full strength.
So is the 21st against the Whitecaps just kind of
look?
Does it matter that much to you?
I'd say Vancouver's not very good, but then neither have we been, right? So for me, you got to figure out how to put your healthiest lineup out there against Vancouver. Don't risk any injuries. Don't risk anything long term, and you're almost sort of kind of looking ahead through the All-Star break, because Bob's got to worry about all that stuff. We got 4 All-Stars and everything else.
He doesn't care about the All-Star game.
Not at all. And I don't think our All-Stars play more than 15, 20 minutes from LAFC, personally. I think we get them out of there. Look, you made your appearance, you did everything, sub them all out at the same time.
Yeah.
Have a big fanfare, whatever you need to do. But that match on the 28th, to me, we're now, 15 games left in the season. When we get to that match, it'll be 14 games left in the season. That match is our season. That's where nobody circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, as Chris Berman likes to say. We need to circle the wagons in that match. That needs to be circled on our calendar, because for us, to me, that's our season. We make a statement against the now second place Carson Galaxy, and we'll see what happens after that. But throw all your chips in the middle for that game.
Okay. We got another birthday shout out, Ken's daughter's birthday. Ken, who's in the chat. So happy birthday to
Ken's
her.
daughter. There you go.
Philly, I'm going to you. Final thought.
I got to figure out a clever way to phrase this to be as positive as possible. Look,
you just start talking and they tumble out. Come on.
Yeah, all right. I mean, Major League Soccer is just such a fascinating thing. I mean, going into this match, Atlanta, after the last week, Atlanta didn't win a game for over 2.5 months. And now all of a sudden they're becoming somewhat of a playoff contender. 2.5 months without a win. What league, anywhere, in any sport, would a team not win a game for 2 months and still have a shot at the playoffs? Well, guess what? Major League Soccer is that very league. So at the very least, it is the hope that kills you. But there is that slight chance that we can squeak into the playoffs. And it's crazy that September's actually 2 weeks away. Like the season,
Stop reminding me.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I just had a birthday. I mean, it's going to be
reminding him
September.
of his birthday.
I don't love
Big
it.
5-0 or?
Oh, wow. Half a century old Vince
She shot back.
LaRosa. Wow.
Show's over.
She shot back.
Wrap it up.
I mean, look, there is that tiny bit of hope. Hopefully we can latch on to a little bit of it. Hopefully what we talked about earlier with Arango playing in the middle, getting some more minutes and some more chemistry with the boys has as a certain amount to help. I'm kind of nervous about All-Star game. If God forbid we lose any of those guys due to injury, we might as well call it a season. But look, we still got a shot. We still got some situations going on. Going up to Vancouver, BC plays, BC standing for bad carpet. We come out of there with a win. That would be a slightly positive thing going in to the matchup against the Galaxy. Always a heated contest. I'm sure there are plenty of supporters out there that would think, you know what, if they lost every game this season but beat the Galaxy 5-0 every game, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad season. So, you know, we hang on to that idea. If that game goes sour, well, then I imagine that's going to be somewhat of a backbreaker for us. There's a slight chance, there's a slight bit of hope, and I'm holding on to that for the next couple of weeks. But just for the next couple of weeks.
We've got some votive candles behind me. I might have to just come in here on off nights and light them just to make sure that we don't get any more injuries. Jess, what is your final thought?
Well, I mean, basically, this is just how I feel about it. Let's just throw it away. I just want to build.
I like a clean fan cave, so.
It's just a piece of paper, Vince. Okay, so it's just a piece of paper. You guys, let's just put it behind us. You know, in the end of the day, it's not.
That's what you meant. Put it behind us.
Yeah, put it behind us.
Oh, I thought you meant it's garbage.
Oh, well, that too.
Okay.
That too. But let's just move on. Like, we have to get behind the team. They definitely need support. And the last thing that they need is to feel like the fans are like, oh, you know, I'm pretty sure they're in the locker room, or they were in the locker room feeling horrible. You know, this isn't great form. Obviously, we're supposed to be way better than this, but we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. So for me, clean slate, start over. I probably will predict a win next time. I mean, I was just joking earlier. I probably will still be confident and excited, because you never know, tomorrow or the next game may be the turnaround game. We don't know. This team is good enough to turn it around and do something new. I mean, it'd be different if we didn't have the talent. We'd be like, oh, it's dead.
Yeah.
We do have the talent, so maybe it'll just take one game for things to turn around, regardless if we make the playoffs or not. I still love this team, want to get behind them, love the players, and I'm over it. You know, we move on.
Yep, on to next week. All right, well, my final thought is I want to thank you guys. Thank you for joining me again. Thank you, Jessica Black, Defenders of the Bank, Philly, JR. Thank you to everybody. Follow them on their social media channels. Hey, they're right there on the screen. So go follow them right now, and follow at 110 Football while you're at it if you're not already. Guys, thank you for joining us. We have another big show coming up on Friday, and we're going to probably talk about what went on in Atlanta. I'm thinking I might break down Brian Rodriguez's performance, as if we haven't talked about him enough. So join us Friday for that big show. But before that, Tuesday, the Max and Vince podcast will definitely be talking about this. We are supposed to have John Thorrington on, so we are going to ask him some tough questions about roster builds, about what's going on, about the vibes of the team in the locker room, because you guys want to know about that stuff. Like I said, big show Friday, and then, of course, we're back again with away days. LAFC will be in Vancouver, but we will be here at the XRM studios. I don't know who's here with us. Maybe I don't know. I don't know this time, but Haley. Oh, Connor's back. Connor's back. So watch Connor's back. Haley's back. You guys will probably be back soon after, right? Because you guys,
we're around.
You have to.
We live around the corner.
I pay you guys to be my friends. But thank you again, everyone. Thank you to XRM. Thank you to our partners, Adidas. We'll see you guys soon.
Happy 18th birthday, Connor.